Hey, Kathleen here with the game of life, because life is a game. When you see life as a game, you can have more fun. If you haven't already, like and subscribe and share. I am going to do a series here. I have a couple parts, and it's called Solutions. It doesn't matter how something is spelled. It is first the word, and the word soul, however you want to spell it, it's about the soul. So we're going to do some solutions and just some minor details. Buried underneath the codes, the statutes, the titles, the control and the fear, buried deep within them, you see that Lady Justice is blindfolded. And I talk about this in my classes all the time, because when I was in postgraduate paralegal studies, I was wondering, why was Lady Justice blinded? She is blinded to the truth of God's law. Why? Because in law school, they don't teach you divine, ecclesiastical, equity, and divine natural law. They don't teach it, from what I understand. I haven't been in law school, but from what I understand, and if they teach any equity at all, which I have a whole book here on the maximums of law, and I highly recommend you get that and apply it. It's simple, straightforward terms to use, but it's about control. It's about fear. And it's so interesting. It's so interesting to me. Why are they undoing God's law? Legal ease is the undoing of God's law. Lady Justice is blindfolded to that truth. To instill fear of all kinds of stuff. Fear to not obey another man because he has a title of police officer. Not that you should not obey police officers or government controllers or overreaching companies. But when they are there to harm you, when they are causing you harm, you need to, maybe I invite you to invoke, claim, and declare your rights. Because what is fear after all? It is false evidence appearing real. That's all fear is. It's false evidence appearing real. And that is the solution. Like Toto in The Wizard of Oz. You know, Dorothy faced, she didn't even know it. She landed on a witch, and then they faced another witch with a bunch of monkeys. Those monkeys are often looked at as the attorneys, the bar monkeys. And so if you think of them, they rejoice when they have that freedom of the other witch going, the control of the bar. When that crumbles, we can all get back to what we're supposed to be, and that is living men and women. And that is the solution to all of our problems, is to remember who we truly are. We are not a name. You are not the name. I am not Kathleen Ramsey. I am I, living, breathing soul. I am flesh and blood. And when we remember that, we remember the number one and only shareholder to all mankind is all mankind. There is no color. There's no religion. There's no political BS side. It's all equal until any man or woman takes a title, and then they're below us, servant. Equal, all alike, all equal, servant. So obviously, when they're a servant, they are at all times still a living, breathing man or woman, but they forgot. We all forgot. It was a spell cast upon us. When Adam fell asleep, that's where we are. Adam thinks he was the name, maybe. You think you're a name. Your mom and dad named you, and you're like, I am that name. I'm here to tell you, you are not that name. You are more than that name. Remember who you are. Remember you're up here. And that when you're playing a title role, because we all wear hats, and we change our hats regularly. And when we're doing that, we're a man or woman, living soul, acting at times, not all times, because sometimes we're just us, at times as an agent with a title of president or CEO or CFO or janitor, teacher, whatever that role is. And when we're in that role, we're working for typically a principal, a corporation, a government. Let's think about that now, shall we? A corporation is a shell. It's an empty boat shell. How do I know it's a boat? They do onboarding and offboarding. They're boarding you on the ship as an employee. They're offboarding you when you exit the matrix of that corporation. And just like in government, they're going to onboard you. Let's get that onboarding for your benefits and your privileges, shall we? So they're going to put you on that ship. And when we realize, when you're sitting in a board meeting, you presidents and CEOs and CFOs and leaders, you managers, whatever your role is in a corporation, in a business, whatever agent role you're playing, whatever hat that is, just remember, when you're making a decision to put poison in our food and water and overreaching and over controlling legalese, just remember your number one shareholder is mankind. And when you violate that, that is a sacred duty, a fiduciary sacred duty that you're violating. You might want to think again. You might want to do the right thing, not the wrong thing. You might want to not care so much about the money. I don't know. It's just a choice you're making, because we do have free will. But we only have free will to win that title that you're in, that hat that you're wearing. When that all of a sudden violates rights, that's a no-no. That's dishonor. That's harm. So knowing, hey, is this poison in our water, American water? Is this poison in our food? Is this poison in our sky? Is this going to violate someone's rights, and will it harm them? Simple, simple, simple. Will it harm them? Is it honor? Otherwise, it's dishonor and harm. And you're going to have to meet at the pearly gates and debate that one. I'm not here to judge any man or woman. We've all done it. We're all sinners right now. And we're learning to remember who we are. And when we remember, we know that we're going to be held accountable for those actions of putting things in those things, those shots that we want to, that some make us want to get. Let's move on to the next slide, shall we? Because it always is. It comes down to the fact that faith over fear. Fear is an illusion. It's a deception. So Toto goes back and they're scared of the witch and the little monkeys, and the monkeys are all happy, and the munchkins are all happy when the wicked witch, when the illusion of control is removed, they're free. The munchkins, the monkeys, but then off, because there's always in three, right? So off to the Wizard of Oz they go, and there's this illusion, Hollywood production. Isn't that interesting? If you think about some of the events that have happened in our life that may or may not be real, it's a Hollywood production, is it not? When the Grand Wizard of Oz looks almighty and big and has his microphone that's like coming out and sounding all scary and stuff. And they're like, "Ooh, he looks scary." And then Toto's like, "Dude, it's just a little man behind a counter and with a curtain. Just pull back the curtain. That's all we're doing. Pull back that curtain and see differently, perceive differently, ask questions, and you'll find out that that little scared man, he's scared of you. When you know who you are, when you pull back that veil, that little old man's so scared. And you do that by having faith. When you have faith over fear, you're unstoppable, and that scares controllers. But when you have faith over fear, have a compassionate heart for those servants. Have a compassionate heart for those who are still waking up, and do it with kindness, but set your boundaries and know when your rights are invoked. Only you have zero rights until you invoke them, claim them, declare them, and don't reserve them. Why reserve them? That's legal ease. Legal ease is all entrapment. It's all bogus. It's all there to control you. Why are you going to put it on a shelf and reserve it over here, your rights? Why would you not just say, "Hey, I'm going to carry my rights with me at all times," just like breathing, just like my blood is in me? Carry your rights with you, invoke them, claim and declare them at all times, and know that your rights end where another's began. So if you're a CEO or a president or some high up in an agency or whatever you are, wherever you are, whatever title hat you're wearing, remember, your right in any decision is on you and not anyone else. You don't get to blame, "Oh, but the big bad wolf told me to do this. The attorney, the judge told me to do this. The government told me to do this. The military told me to do this." It's your actions, my dear one. So you're going to have to be holding yourself accountable. And it's okay. We've all made mistakes. That's why we can repent and correct our ways, correct our errors now. And we do that through faith. I'm telling you, when you do it over and over, it gets less fearful. The first couple times is really fearful. You can shake and tremble. I did. Faith requires action. It requires action. Faith plus action, guess what that is? That's your solutions. Everybody's like, what's the solution? What's the solution? The faith is having the faith to take the action, to have the courage to take the action. On the Hawkins scale of consciousness, when you reach courage, it's the breaking point. It's what takes you and ignites you. Your calling, your mission, your purpose. Everyone's looking for that purpose in their life. They're looking for that mission in their life. They're looking for that answer, and they're searching here and they're searching there and they're searching there. My dear one, it's within. It's within. When you reach courage, courage and empowerment are on that same level of 200. When you reach that, it becomes clearer and clearer. You might be a little bit afraid, like, oh, that's too big or much for me. Don't be. Step into that power. Have the courage to take that action, because that's how together we crumble the walls of corruption, of legal ease. My favorite story that my dad told me when I was a little girl was about the walls of Jericho falling. And I pondered on that my whole life. And I was like, how did those walls crumble? Because when we get together, we become an atomic bomb. And that's scary, right? To controllers. But it's not scary to us, because we would do it with a compassionate heart. We would have kindness, because mankind is kind. It's in the word. It's right there, hidden in plain sight. So if you think about it, we're an electromagnetic field of energy. We have so much power within us. We have it within the palms of our hands. Rub your hands together. Do it for a minute or so. Sometimes mine gets super duper hot. And then just feel that energy that's coming out of them. Do that now. Go ahead. If you need to pause, feel it. I feel a lot of energy coming out of my hands right now. And then you can do it like a ball. Just feel that energy, feel that resistance in you. You have the power to tap into that. Why on the walls of Jericho? They were invoking a lot of different natural laws there. So they marched, they created a rhythm by marching for 7 days. 7 is a heaven number, right? So for 7 days, they created a new rhythm. 7 days, if you start doing something every day at the same time, 7 days in a row, you're creating a new rhythm. You're changing that rhythm, that pattern. And that's one of the laws of nature, right? And so they're creating that. What that's doing is it's changing the frequency of what was there before. And that leads you to vibration, right? The law of vibration and attraction. So now with intention, oh boy, is that just brewing up a mix, right? And that's bringing in some energy with intention and marching in a rhythm and having that vibration frequency. It's all coming together, and it's not even magical. It's a miracle. And that's what's building and building, just like when you rubbed your hands together with intention, and then you can feel it. You can do that at any time. If someone's stressing you out, start rubbing your hands. What are you doing? You're creating a new set of mind. You're shifting your mindset. So you're building in that walls of Jericho. You're building that energy around it. And then on the 7th day, they just intensify it, right? And they march more times, and they have the trumpets blaring because that sound is creating it. That's the arc, the transmutation of energy going from, because they have the arc there, which I'm going to show you in a minute. And it goes from one side to the other, and it becomes because the trumpets are blowing, because the priests are praying, because the intentions are set, and the arc was there. The arc makes the atomic bomb. The walls crumble. The walls inside of you are the ones that you're crumbling. Those are the ones where you don't need permission from someone else, and you don't need their approval, and you don't need to seek for your decisions. You're going to find that within, because when we find it within, we'll feel it without. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that a beautiful solution? I think it is. And it puts the control back in your hands and helps you to reach that courage. And we do this, how we can operate is by doing it in the private, knowing that there's a private, that there's 2 realms, which I'm going to get to in part 2, but there's 2 realms, there's public and private. And we start to comprehend the difference. It's nothing short of a miracle. So let's think about this. Let's think about this picture right here, where we got this man who's looking like, I'm the big bad wolf, right? I'm telling them to do this and they're listening to me. And just in case they don't, I got a cop on each side. Intimidation, extortion, coercion. That's what that's called. Another way to put it. So I'm the big bad wolf. I'm the governor. I'm the president. I'm whoever. Okay. I'm the big bad wolf in this scenario. That guy with that, he has a hat on to show you they all have hats on. See? It's a hat thing. And then you got your big bad wolf here and cop here. And they're telling these two, hey, we know that you have a product and it's called alcohol. And we're going to tell you to pitch it just because we're not making any money. So we want to control this. So we're going to have you all in a fear state where we're going to beat you down. We're going to take away your rights. We're going to take away your property. We're going to make you dispose of your liquor because I said so. I'm your equal. Are you going to obey me? That's a bunch of crock of BS, right? It is, because government wasn't established and ordained for government to control us. Whose government? Remember that ship? That ship of government is an empty vessel. It cannot steer itself. That government is the man with the hat on and the two men next to him. That's the government. It requires a living soul to operate and manage and enforce it, right? That man or woman is wearing a hat. That man or woman's sole fiduciary duty, sacred duty, is at all times mankind. Honor no harm. When they make a law that harms your property or your rights, which is property as well, right? Then that title, you're in trouble with the man up above. And that's why they don't want you to believe, not that it's a man up above, God, creator, whatever. I'm correcting my error for saying that, because we can repent and we can change and we can recognize that, oops, let me reword that. Let me rephrase that differently. That's what it's about. It's about all of us learning together. That man in that hat and the two men next to him with, which appears to be like cops, their first duty is to mankind. Is this harming them? Do I have authority and jurisdiction to step on another man's rights? Because they're stepping all over his rights and he's obeying because he's living in a state of fear. He doesn't know how to stand up. When we know how to speak our truth, then we can stand up. That's what I teach. I've done it a lot. See, the thing is that ball and chain isn't that spouse of yours. Yeah, ball and chain is the government and the corporations that we're all obeying to. We're eating food with poison. We're breathing the air that chemtrails are up above us. If you don't believe in any of that, go ahead and check it out for yourself. Research. Don't use my truth. Don't use what I say. Use your own discernment, because you have the ability to look within and to know right from wrong. You have wisdom within you. So go within and look for that wisdom. It's the most powerful thing that you can do. And it's the best gift you can give yourself. And then they have us feeling like a cute little dog in a cage, right? We are caged up, my friends. And it's time for us to take that helmet off and break out of that cage. And we do that together. See the arc that I was talking about? See what I'm talking about? It's not something new. This isn't new age. Nope, it sure isn't. This is old time age. It's actually how we began. It's biblical. We're just going back to the tradition, to the origin, to the foundation that was established in the beginning. We're living in the private, where we honor one another and ourselves, where we put our boundaries up and we express it with communication, and we can put it in writing. It's the arc. It's the bridge over troubled water. We're living and operating in maritime law, admiralty law, UCC, Universal Commercial Code. That's what we're all operating on. I used to ponder on that in postgraduate paralegal studies. I was like, why are we operating on water when I'm on land? This doesn't make any sense to me. I would ask the professors, I would ask the attorneys that I worked for, and I would get different messages and answers and stuff. So I started doing my own research, and I was like, because they're all ignoring natural law, because they're taking us from what was and they're putting us into a control. But we have the power to change that. We have the power to be like the walls of Jericho and crumble the corruption. That is within our power. That is building. That is the momentum of where we need to be, not because we're taking down any man or woman. We're showing them, we're reminding them, we're helping them to remember who they truly are, who you are. You first have to know who you are. If you don't love and know yourself and accept yourself for all the good, bad, and indifferent, how are you going to love another? Seriously. And this is such beautiful because it is the ark. It's the bridge over the troubled water. You got land on both sides, and that's your common law. And then you got the troubled water of maritime chaos, presumption. And that's your default, by the way, in this world of the matrix. We're in this world. We're not of it, right? We're in it. What does that mean? It means we're in the statutory. We're in the deep of the water. We're drowning in legalese. But we can go over the bridge. We can build that bridge together. By going back to biblical times, operating in the private, having an agreement and an expressed agreement between mankind and mankind, not entity to entity. Anytime you sign that name, that is owned by the state through the live birth certificate. Look up live birth in your state constitution. In Illinois, if you want to look it up, same definition everywhere, came from the WHO in 1950. In Illinois, it's 410. I, as in I, letter I, L for Illinois, S is in Sam, or S is, it's CS, sorry, ILCS, Constitution. So ILCS 535/12, live birth. Same in all, not same, obviously, it's hidden, but look for live birth, certificate of live birth. It's there. It's a product extracted from the mother. So when you operate as your name, when you sign every single time, and everybody says, oh, that's not real, blow up that checkbook and it says authorized representative. You are acting as an authorized representative for the entity, for the person, individual. Look up those definitions. They're hidden in plain sight. It tells you right there. A natural person, the default is person. So know the definition of person. You can't be an oxymoron. You can't be living and dead at the same time. The default's dead in maritime law. The default's in the matrix. You're in this world, not of it. So know that natural person is a dead person. Okay. And in South Carolina, you can look up that definition. It's there. I found it. And it does say the same thing, pretty much like live birth. Anyway, just don't take my word. Look it up if you want. Know that you're not the name. Why would you be a name? When a judge or somebody says, what's your name? I am, and you can call me Kathleen if that helps. You know, my mom calls me Kathleen. So I'll let you call me that. I might give you a different name. I might say Kathy, depending on how I know you. But I am not the name. That's an entity owned by the state. It's so simple. Just look it up. And when you start to realize this, you can take off that hat. And you can see differently, and you can start to see your rights, to invoke, declare, and claim your rights. It's so much fun. It's just like a game of life, right? How do they entrap us? Well, I can go into that, and I do in my classes. But first of all, we get certificates. And one of those certificates starts when you were born. Little baby boo-boo comes out. And before little baby boo-boo can hit his foot, the sole of his foot hits land, it's captured in the air, the ecclesiastical air, and boom, we got the footprint. What does that mean? The soul plate. We've created a soul plate. Isn't that fun? And then, well, that's not enough. That's a little, oh, isn't that adorable? I got a little footprint of baby boo-boo. Baby boo-boo is alive and coming home, right? But then the dock at the oar, the dock door, just like a ship pulls up to a dock, and you as a mom have a birth canal. Ship has a birth canal. Don't worry about the spelling. It's all about the sound. And doctor, dock with an oar. The oar might be that pen. He asks you to sign. What would you like to name your new entity, your new sole proprietorship? And mama says, I'd like to name it Kathleen. And doctor says, great. Now we have a new sole proprietorship. in the state of whatever named Kathleen. And she, at some point, can become an authorized representative. Isn't that just fun? And so what they're going to do, because that wasn't enough. See, when they severed that cord, that umbilical cord, and they go and they sever it, boom, boom, boom. And you're like, oh, the cord's cut, right? Because they're going to record. They're going to create a record, right? A record. They're going to take the cord, and instead of making sure you're connected to Source, God, Creator, they're just going to record it into the matrix of the legalese system. It's a game, remember? It's just a game. So in this game, then when we record it, and we record it with what? A certificate of live birth, which the definition is a product extracted from the mother. But let's take it one more step, because I mean, we're getting pretty good at this game, aren't we? And to undo it, to reverse engineer it, the solution would be to know what it all means. So the solution to this is they're going to prick that heel, H-E-E-L, so that the little baby boo-boo can't H-E-A-L, heel, right? Why? Because when you prick a hole in the vessel of a ship, because we're all on water, then it sinks and it's not alive anymore. It's a product. And wait a minute, if, let's just say, a few companies got together, maybe Harma, spelled with a P in the front, maybe Harma, some food companies, the air quality, the soil, water, because water's life, right? I just say they all got together and conjured up a marketing agreement, let's say, with statement of work. Not that I've ever seen one, maybe I have, but that plans all this. And then they say, let's change the DNA, a little baby boo-boo. So when we change now I've got a problem. If we change the DNA of little baby boo-boo living, then the record on the soul plate doesn't match. See, the blood matches the living soul. And so it's a tie that they're tying together like a bow. And then what are they going to do? Oh, no worries there. They took care of that. In 2013, that president in the United States called Obama just passed a law, and it said that any manufacturer that modifies a product then owns that product. Aren't they just so smart? But guess what? That living soul is not a product, is it? Just that name, just that entity, that natural person, individual, citizen, a resident, person. Yeah, that's the only one. So know who you are and who you're not. That's the solution. So let's keep going for just a moment. Return to pure law. Laws of nature, nature's God, as stated in the Declaration of Independence. Many consider that to be the true and first Constitution of the United States. And let's go to ecclesiastical principles. That's the bridge that you want to be on. That's the bridge where you get to invoke, claim, and declare your rights. And that's where we're going back to being authentic. So we go back to our roots. This isn't new stuff. This isn't new age. This is the old age. This is biblical. It's the biblical times. When you know how to do this, you invoke a protection around you. You have this incredible power, this vibrational frequency, this shield. How do I know? I flew 6 times that year that everybody was supposedly getting pulled off planes. I flew 6 times without a mask. I went through the entire airport and plane without a mask on. It was as if I was invisible. Do I have the power to be invisible? Do you? I'm just saying, maybe we do have some superpowers we can tap into. And wouldn't that be nice? Because they wouldn't be something new. It would be getting back to the roots of knowing who I am. And sometimes people want it for money. Money, money, money. Money is not evil. It's what you'll do for it. So let's make it help each other, prosper for each other, so that we can have that kind of protection. Now, I'm going to invite you to walk on water with me of maritime legalese, and together let's put an end to this overreaching BS, shall we? So look me up. My website is The Game of Life 101. The Game of Life 101. Check me out. I would love to have you in my class. They're running all the time, and now we have them recorded as well. We're recording them. So until next time, like and share and play the game of life and have some fun. Thanks so much.